Hey, Mike here with Canadian Musician. Once again, Omni Austin Hotel, of course, South by Southwest is going on. These guys, I'm real happy to have Edmonton's The Wet Secrets. This is Lyle, Trevor. Just got finished doing a couple songs for Sirius XM. A lot has been going on with these guys in the last year or two, so I'm excited to have them with me. But first, guys, how's South by going for you?
Horrible. We hate it.
Don't believe him. We're having a great time.
Nice. And well, I guess leading up to this festival, NPR put out its well-seen 100 bands to watch or must see or whatever at South by. You guys were on it this year. Do you guys have a sense? Is there a different, sense surrounding the band coming into this year's festival compared to when you've been here in the past?
I always go in with low expectations and guarded optimism. Being on the NPR 100 songs to hear or bands to hear, that is amazing, and I know it had some impact. There's been people messaging me that specifically said they heard the song on NPR, so and then talked to people that came to the show because of that. So that to me is a kind of a badge of honor. I'm turbo stoked that we got on that list.
Nice. And I guess on a bit more serious note, before Lyle, I'm guessing it was an interview with you, although I'm not totally sure truthfully who said it, but it was in a previous interview. You were talking about before your guys' last album, Free Candy, which really kind of broke you guys in a bigger way. You were talking about how there was a point that, and I think this is not a terribly new story for a lot of bands that come to the point when they realize this could be a career. But you were talking about you guys needed as a band to kind of sort out some internal issues and make sure everyone was kind of on the same page, making sure the Wet Secrets was a top priority for you guys. And us Canadian Musician being band-oriented, musician-oriented thing, I'm just interested how you guys kind of worked that out, and at what point did you know that the Wet Secrets was more than maybe a hobby or whatever you want to call it, that this is something that warranted being taken seriously?
I think we were still playing shows, and it was sort of a side project for a while. It was always really fun. We played a couple key pivotal moments where we kind of stopped. Trevor and I had a little meeting and sort of decided, like, this still is really fun. If we can work out a couple things and make a solid plan, like why not kind of make a dare to see how far we can take this wacky idea, take it to its conclusion maybe. So we kind of sat down, made a little plan, like actually made a plan with some lofty goals on there also, but a plan to kind of sort out some of the issues. So this would have been about 2.5 years ago, and so we're about 2.5 years into the 5-year plan.
Nice. And you guys, you can see a bit with the marching band outfits here and that, but there's a very cool kind of unique just identity to the band, not just the marching band uniforms that have become kind of a distinctive look for you guys, but there's a performance aspect with you guys. The horn players are doing the choreographed moves while you're playing. I find it interesting that in a 6-person band with seemingly every instrument, there's not a single guitar. And I'm just wondering, like, how did this whole vision, the whole unified vision of what this band is, come together? Was it, say, Lyle, were you leading it? Was there, I guess you could say, was it thought out, or did it just kind of happen organically?
Well, I'm kind of a ball hog bass player. So for me, it's not that I have a problem with guitar. I play guitar. I've been a guitarist in other bands. But for this thing, without a guitar in there, it sort of gave me room to kind of go bananas. I play in a way that kind of fills in for the guitar. We also found that with this instrumentation, there was way more room. Like the keyboards had more room in the middle to play around. The horns had more space. So it just kind of worked out. I'm surprised more bands don't fire the fucking guitar player, because he's an asshole always.
He's always, him and the singer are always the egomaniac.
Yeah. The bass player and the drummer always get, there's always jokes about bass player and drummer being the dummies in the band, but that is not the case. We're the burger in the hamburger, man. We're the burger and the bun in the cheeseburger, and the guitar is the chopped lettuce.
There you go. I'm not sure I got all of that, but let's go with it. And
It's a pretty shaky metaphor, but yeah.
But it's delicious.
But it's delicious.
nice. And like I said, last album, Free Candy, kind of put you guys on a different plane. You've just released, just recently signed to 6 Shooter Records. You've put out a new, I believe it's 4-song EP, I Can Live Forever. The 4 songs on this EP, it's essentially a preview of the full-length album that's later to come. I think it's to be titled Tyranny of Objects, if that's
The
correct.
Tyranny of Objects.
Tyranny of Objects. And, but yeah, is the 4 songs on the EP, will they be repeated on the album? Is essentially acting as a teaser?
I'm pretty sure we're pretty sure they will be. We're waiting on final mixes of the rest of the tracks and then decide a running order. We have a couple space jams on there that are long, so that might determine the running order, but probably, yeah.
I guess you kind of explained a little bit there, but for fans that, the people all came on board and discovered you guys through Free Candy, how will the full length, if you have a sense yet, compare to that album kind of sonically? Will it be similar? Will it be a departure? How will it be?
It will blow your minds. No, it's kind of, in my mind, we were going back a little bit towards Rock Fantasy, the previous record from long, long ago. That was a little more raucous. In the process, I don't think it sounds like that album either. This is kind of new territory, so we do a little more disco-y numbers. There's some quieter numbers that I think are still badass songs. And then, a couple weirdo jams on there too. So, I guess we didn't want to make the same record. This was the mandate was to explore new territory. That sounds corny, but to come up with something new that still felt like the Wet Secrets. So we've taken quite a bit of time to kind of get the mix right, but we're pretty pumped for this record to come out shortly here.
In a 6-person band like you guys, what is that process like in the studio as far as the songs come together? Is one person kind of leading the songwriting and then everyone else comes in, or how does it whole work?
Yeah, it's you now.
Nice.
It's
I like
whoever's
this.
wearing the hat, so
Hopefully
now the pressure is all... No, it's whoever's wearing the hat, so now the pressure's all on you. Lyle does all the heavy lifting. We go in and lay down bass and drum tracks, and then Lyle takes them away, and we'll find his melodic line on top of that, and then layer in keys and horns and build it up layer by layer like that. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Yeah. That sort of downplays everyone else's role to some degree. Paul, keyboard player Paul Arnish, Kristen Maslick, our sax player, those guys are kind of multi-instrumentalist geniuses. I can't talk right now. So, we kind of got this a core where everyone is a character and sort of adds their own little element that would never come out of my own brain. So it's more collaborative than that, but I guess the genesis of the ideas generally are coming from me. Yes.
It's a parade, and he's in front with the whistle and the staff.
Yeah.
And this hat.
And that hat.
There you go. Like I mentioned earlier, you guys recently signed the 6 Shooter. Because of all the increase in tension that came with Free Candy, I'm sure you guys had options. I'm sure a number of labels would have been interested. Why 6 Shooter? Like, what led to your decision, and what were you, I guess, considering that made 6 Shooter a good fit?
We love 6 Shooter. 6 Shooter is just the right size of label. They are the scrappy independent that has the reach and can get the job done, but is still, at the other end of the phone. You pick them up the phone and you're talking to, the president of the company, who's got the wavelength, right? Like gets the idea and has the vision. So just like the power of those women and their taste and their devotion to music really feels like family. Like, it really feels like we are with the right gang.
By the way, this hat is not light. How the hell do you play with this thing every single night?
It's not light?
Yeah.
Just used to it. I guess I'm used to it. Yeah. The problem is actually that it's full of like 10 pounds of teenager sweat that drips into my eyes about 5 minutes into the show. So, yeah, it's not good.
Right on. And just before we wrap up, when can folks expect the full-length Tyranny of Objects?
It's going to be a back-to-school record. The EP is out now on iTunes, I Can Live Forever, and the full-length, The Tyranny of Objects, is going to be a back-to-school record 2016.
Fantastic. So once again here at South by Southwest, Lyle and Trevor of Edmonton's The Wet Secrets. A lot of buzz about these guys, so if you haven't hopped on board yet, check them out. New EP, like we just said, I Can Live Forever, and back to school time will be Tyranny of Objects. Sorry, I suddenly can't speak, but Tyranny of Objects on 6 Shooter Records. But guys, I know this is a busy week for everyone. I really appreciate taking the time, man.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Our pleasure.
Cheers, man. Thank you.